What's up and welcome back to KindaFunny's In Review, MCU In Review. This is where it all began. Of course, this is the show where we rank, review, and recap every single Marvel Studios project. Of course, I'm Tim Geddes, and I'm joined by the Nitro Rifle, Andy Cortez.
Great afternoon, everybody.
Great afternoon to you as well. We're also joined by the Big Daddy, Craig Miller.
Hello. I'm happy to be here, and I'm glad that I'm so close to Andy, but still far enough away from Andy.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Because I can still do this.
Yeah.
Hard as I can. As hard as I want to, and I can't get him, you know?
You get a little closer to him. Fall in, though.
Look at you're right there,
Fall into
too.
that.
You're fine.
I mean, you could hit me if you wanted to.
Rounded out the
struggle,
group
but-
today. It is the producer/seducer, Nick Scarpino, in
It's
a
good to be back.
fantastic-looking bomber jacket, I
Thank
must
you.
say.
Thank you. You can get that on kindafunny.com/store right now if you guys want it. And you, too, could look like one of the Biodome 4, like me and Tim, which is great.
Yeah. Me and Nick, the
I
Biodome
appreciate
4.
you came for a whole marathon here. You got 2 zero sugar Cokes, a thing of beef jerky, and a nice coffee.
Well, if you notice, Greg,
how long are we talking about She-Hulk?
if you notice, the beef jerky has been consumed already.
Nice.
And these, this is my main coffee. These are my what ifs. What if I need a soda?
Welcome to the studio, everybody. This is our first in review altogether in many, many years. It's crazy how many Marvel Studios projects have happened since the last time we were in the studio. So many shows, so many special presentations, so many movies. Today we're going to be talking about She-Hulk. Remember, this is KindaFunny's in review. Each and every week, we get together to rank, review, and recap different movie franchises. You can watch that on youtube.com/KindaFunny, or if you prefer podcasts, search your favorite podcast service for KindaFunny in review, and we'll be right there for you. We've done pretty much every franchise under the sun, whether you love them, whether you hate them, we have reviewed them. So go check those out. If you want to support us, you can go to patreon.com/KindaFunny, just like our Patreon producers, Molecule, Al Tribesman, and Fargo Brady have done. Because of that, they get the show ad-free. They get to watch live as it's recorded. And every single dollar this month in October goes towards filling out our thermometer that we started a couple weeks ago when we launched this thing. And that's still going. So until the end of October, we are still raising the funds, as the kids say, to do all the cool projects later this year and throughout 2023.
Having fun raising the funds. That's what they say. You know what I mean? You can't spell fundraise without
Without
fun,
fun.
Andy.
He's right
Can't spell
here.
without fund either.
No raise. Remember Josh Groban? You raise me up. God, that. Let me tell you, that beanstalk can sing. All right, that's a man. You have the 6 CD changer. You just need one, brother. Put it in there. Josh Groban's greatest hit.
Do you have
Buy
the
6
same-
copies.
Do you have that CD 6 times, though?
You raise me up. God, the echo, the reverb.
Really good reverb.
You have a voice.
I got pipes, big
You
dog.
do.
I
know?
got some pipes.
What can't you do?
I'll
You
pipe
can
you
run
down.
real fast, sing real good, ass real good. You know what I mean?
Ass real good.
What does that mean? Do you rub it on something, or is it?
Kevin, you're retired for a reason. You stay out of this.
No. Wrong note.
See, what I love about this is for years I've had to listen to you guys try to harmonize over Discord, and it just has not worked. So
Yeah,
this
we're
time,
back
it's like, at
down.
least you guys had the timing right, but somehow it still just sounded atrocious. So, you know, it's always something new, Nick, right?
It is always something new, Tim. Just like this week's episode of She-Hulk was new.
Thank you. Today, we're talking about She-Hulk. We're brought to you by Shopify and Raycon, but I'll tell you about those later. Let's get into it. She-Hulk. We're a little late on this. Normally, we like to review things right as they happen, but of course, we launched the studio. So we're doing this right now. She-Hulk. It was released between August 18th, 2022, ran for 9 episodes until October 13th. The runtime was about 30 minutes an episode. They actually stuck to the TV format for this one. Different move for Marvel that I imagine we'll get some more of in upcoming shows. It was show ran by Jessica Gao, an American television writer and producer who was creator and head writer of the TV series She-Hulk. She also worked on the 3rd season of Rick and Morty. She wrote the episode Pickle Rick, which I haven't seen.
People love that one.
But people love
Great
it.
episode.
Yeah? Yeah, you actually see
Everybody
it?
loves to make fun of it, like stupid people like that. Nah, it's a really, really fucking funny episode. Also, how would Owen Wilson say her last name? Gow.
Yeah, it's true. It is true.
While we have this break in the action, Andy, did you find it weird at all when Tim was like, they stuck to 30 minutes of TV for, which I expect you might see with it? Like he's talking to
knows.
Kevin Feige, like Kevin Feige was like talking to him behind the scenes, like, yo, this next show about Squirrel Girl and the Falcon, we're gonna make 30 minutes. I just thought you should know that.
You don't know what I know, Greg.
I don't know what you
don't know what I know.
It's a great point.
She also wrote for Silicon Valley, Robot Chicken, and other shows like that, which makes a lot of sense when you watch the show.
Robot Chicken, another great show. We don't talk about enough here.
Yeah, I love Robot Chicken.
You
I feel
don't like
you're
it, Andy?
It's simple humor. Every time I watch Rewatch, Chicken, I'm like, I could do this.
Well, Andy, you're incredibly talented. You can do a lot of things.
I think you're funny.
But I'm just tired.
You just can't.
The music was by Amy Doherty, an Irish composer and orchestrator for film and television. She was the first woman to score an animated feature for DreamWorks with Spirit Untamed. Never heard of it, but it came out last year.
Sounds like a Miyazaki movie, like a Ghibli movie.
Sure. You guys should do Ghibli interview.
We should. That's all I got for
There
you
was
for
about
the
80 of those Ghibli movies, man.
There were so many. That was one of the longest.
That flew a plane.
Dude, that is the one. That was like.
Porco Rosso.
I was like, what the fuck are we doing? What is this movie?
Yeah, no, wait. What was the other one with the plane?
Come on.
Not the one with
Skies
the pig.
Arcadia or some
Skies
bullshit.
Arcadia, yeah,
Who
it's
fucking
like-
knows,
that was
man?
the one where I was like, there's a lot of these movies. They're fantastic, but there's a lot of them. Anyways, I want to start with a little fact here for you guys about She-Hulk. She-Hulk was created in 1980 by writer Stan Lee and artist John Buscema. She-Hulk was one of the last characters that Stan Lee ever created. The reason
Perfected it.
that they created She-Hulk was essentially because of the television show The Bionic Woman. In the late 1970s and early 80s, the Incredible Hulk TV show was a big success right after a successful run from The $6 Million Man, and both shows were made by the same producers at Universal. Those producers and the studio had created a female-led spin-off of The $6 Million Man called The Bionic Woman. Afraid that Universal might try the same stunt for a Hulk spin-off, Marvel wanted to stake their claim first, mostly because if Universal made the spin-off, they would share ownership rights, if not own the character altogether for She-Hulk. So they joke about that a little bit in this, like
Kinda
the whole meta,
meta,
Titania, taking the rights to She-Hulk or whatever. But it's just interesting that like the arms race of the Marvel rights
Goes that far
like,
back?
Go so far back, and like the Universal thing is still plaguing Hulk to this day.
Sure.
To this
They
very
call it
day.
But
Hulk
also
plague.
the terrible movie, you know? Worse than Thor.
Nick Scarpino,
Yes.
what do you think of She-Hulk overall?
Overall, I really liked the show, and I'm very excited for a second season. By the end of it, it was legitimately a show I look forward to, and I unfortunately, because we launched Studio last week, did not get to watch last week's episode. I don't think nor the week prior to that because I wasn't on it, which was a delight. It's one of those things where you fire it up, you go, I got two.
Oh yeah.
How did I not know I have two? Right
What
now,
a
I think I
gift.
have 14 episodes of Game of Thrones, House of Dragon, and that's going to be fun, too. I really like it. Like I said before, the humor hits on all cylinders for me. This is a departure from most normal shows. They even say so in it, right? Even as we get to the last episode where she's like, we're going to do it our way. Everything's formulaic, and they're making fun of the tried and true formula that we love for the Marvel shows and the Marvel movies. But this one's a little different spin on it, and I just thoroughly enjoyed it, man. It was super fun.
Greg Miller.
Yeah, they stuck the landing, which is always our concern with these MCU shows, right? I think we went through the entirety of it and had a great time. It, to Nick's point, was always that treat for me. I didn't wake up the same way I woke up for Loki or for WandaVision, where I was like, oh shit, I can't wait to see what's going to happen next kind of thing. I just was always like, oh yeah, She-Hulk, all right, that'll be fun.
Yeah, it's fun.
That'll be fun. And I think, again, which the show makes fun of course, where we are with MCU fandom when we want everything to have these bigger repercussions and we want to know what's going to tie in where are the X-Men. I loved that this show was purposefully not that. It was that we are a 30-minute comedy, courtroom comedy, whatever you want to call it. You know what I mean? Of just like, this is going to happen here. And yeah, like, I'm sure we'll get back to the Hulk having a son. I'm sure we'll get back to some Daredevil and all these other things that are being introduced. Did I do that? Yeah. Did I do that? Well, I kicked out this TV.
Oh, we
whatever I
knocked
did.
it out. Okay.
I'll fix it while Andy talks in a second. All that said, like, It delivered on just being a fun show. It didn't need to push it. It didn't need to push forward the MCU. It could make fun of the MCU, and it really is setting that, hey, these don't all need to tie into everything. These don't all need to be a bigger. They can just happen in the universe, and we can have fun with that universe in a way nothing else has.
Andy Cortez.
Fixed it. It's fine.
I was a big fan of the show. I think I'm getting into kind of an odd territory with how many things there are on this list, especially when we're getting into genres like She-Hulk, because it feels like apples and oranges. Like, I love Dumb and Dumber, one of my favorite comedies of all time. I love The Departed. Two different genres, two different sort of...
You have to rank them, Andy.
Two different environments, you know what I mean? So it is kind of odd to have She-Hulk on this list against all of these other grandiose, epic, popcorn Hollywood blockbuster films. But I still had a lot of fun with it. I thought it was just consistently funny as hell. I think the weaker episodes were still very entertaining. And I love this most recent twist in episode 9, the final episode. I thought it just did a really neat job with sort of twisting everything around, and the creators and showrunners just had a lot of fun making this. You could tell.
It's one of those two that
they had like a playground to work with.
And they had a vision, and they stuck to it,
Yeah.
right? I think that's one of the things we talked about and maybe dinged Miss Marvel, right? Of like, it started off so strong with the graphics and the writing behind her and this, that, and the other, and then they kind of faded away for a while. And it would come back at certain points, they'd pepper it in, but it wasn't as strong as that first episode or even the second one. Whereas this one, it felt like I was watching a consistent vision throughout, and they didn't deviate, right? Like, when, I know it's weird right now because we're reviewing the whole thing, but we're going to talk about episodes, but we didn't talk about the finale yet. But in the finale, right, when, like, Abomination walked in with the incels, I was like, oh, really? We're going to make him the bat? And then it was like, oh, okay. Smart way to get out of this.
Did you get your hand raised?
Yeah, I was just gonna say, guys. You know, I very seldom bring this next term up, but I'd like to talk about the Heat. And I don't mean...
I'm not familiar with this movie. Who's in it?
Oh, I'm not talking about that. I'm talking about the heat between She-Hulk and Daredevil.
Oh.
I was not expecting that. That was fantastic. Charlie Cox and Tatiana, they had great chemistry. Let's have that show. That's the show I want to watch for season 2. Bring them all back.
So sexy.
So
all
sexy.
of it.
They got
I
it.
like how she called him a ketchup and mustard packet. That was great. That was funny. I was
Yeah.
like, good dig. That's what my wife says to me right before we make out.
Jesus, are you wearing red and yellow?
I do a lot, yeah.
No, he doesn't.
Not familiar with that. I don't know that outfit. I know most of our outfits, but I don't know that one. Tim, what did you think?
I utterly love this show. I don't think that's a surprise to anybody that knows me, especially you guys. Like, I love the MCU. I love Marvel Studios. I love the lore. I love the nerdy stuff, the Easter eggs, the different takes on things and genres, and big swings that they often take. And, you know, I feel like we're so far into this with so many different projects, movies, special presentations, TV shows, that I feel that it's at a point that we're running out of things to even try because almost everything's done. So, like, the Marvel formula can mean 15 different things.
Yeah.
And I like that we're still kind of iterating, and like getting a show like this felt like a breath of fresh air for so many reasons. But you guys have said this, but they had a vision, and I think they really committed to it, and it worked. Like, this was a TV show. It was a 30-minute comedy, and they really did justice to the She-Hulk character. Like, for people that have read She-Hulk comics, admittedly, I haven't read too many of them, but I've seen her in a lot of like team-ups and things like that. And nailing the Jen Walters side of it, the She-Hulk side of it, the lawyer versus superhero, like all of that, I thought they did a great job making a show from it and breaking the fourth wall when appropriate, using that sprinkled throughout to have the last episode work as well as it did.
Yeah.
The Kevin Feige cameo was incredible, and like done in a way that I wouldn't even thought that I wanted. Like, I would expect,
Right.
I want Kevin Feige. I want him to be there. That's so cool. And I would have predicted that to happen. I would not have predicted Kevin to be an AI robot
That was
that's
hilarious.
making Marvel work. But that's so
Hilarious.
smart, and it shows they know their audience, they know their product, and like, major shout outs to Jessica Gao for nailing it, for getting it, and for having these toys and thank you, and playing with them in a way that feels very respectful to the source material, and to take advantage of this opportunity that Disney Plus has right now of these shows being able to be whatever they want to be. And I'm very excited that we're getting past that initial Disney Plus lineup of things where it was pandemic shooting and there was like restrictions of people working around things. And like, yeah, there's still a lot of VFX issues and all of that, and that's never going to change, I don't think, unfortunately. But I think overall the show succeeded at what it was trying to do. thinking about it in terms of like what Andy's saying of like where does it rank, I don't know. Like I've been trying to think about it, and like I can't wait till the end of the episode when we really start getting there. But in terms of ranking it against the other shows, it's clearly in the upper echelon
Top
of them.
tier.
But I feel like in my mind, Loki and WandaVision stand apart so far, where WandaVision is so special for that I can't wait for the next episode. Oh my God, I can't believe they're doing this and all of that. But with the finale and the Ralph Boner stuff, it taints my memory of that show
100%.
and like just how I feel about it quality wise, even though it was utterly fantastic and everything I could have wanted besides that. Then you get to Loki, and I just love how it ended. And I loved the journey, but like how that show ended, I don't know will ever be topped on a MCU show. This show is somewhere in there, and I don't know exactly where, because while it nailed being a comedy, and it, to me, I think, like, people keep saying that there's not that much MCU ramifications. Like, there are so many. The Sokovia Accord stuff, like getting the X-Men teases and things, Hulk's son Scar, like all of this setup. Like, we got Daredevil. Like, all of that stuff I thought was handled so gracefully, and is going to have so many ramifications for different projects going forward, that I can't wait to see how they actually play into it all. But I think that while the comedy worked a lot, I think when I compare this to other comedy shows, it was just pretty good. It wasn't like, oh my God, this show is hilarious. This is one of the best comedies. So while it nailed being a comedy, I think it was a great MCU comedy. I don't think it was the best comedy I've seen. And
100%.
so because of that, I feel like it is a little lower in my mind quality-wise. But having said that, it's like I would love a season 2. I hope that they do that. I hope that we get a lot more.
Yeah, I don't think of it so much as a comedy, right? I think of it more as just a very obviously it's comedic, but it's just, for me, it was always just very entertaining. There was a couple wonderful moments of like light chuckles, a couple laugh out loud things, but like when she looked at the camera, she's like, "Where are the X-Men?" Like tongue in cheek, and winked at the camera. I was like, "That's funny, right?" It's very entertaining, and at the end of the day, the whole show is fun. From start to finish, it's actually something that I would watch again before the next season comes out, and that speaks volumes to it, because I liked Loki, I liked WandaVision. I don't really want to go back and visit those things. This is a show I'm like, let's keep making these, because it's so creative and so fun that you can really sandwich in whatever you want into this stuff and have it work. For Christ's sake, they made Kevin Feige an AI robot like from WALL-E, and it was hilarious. And I was like, I was not expecting that, but it worked out well.
No
Yeah.
Madison,
Hey,
though.
Kev, just want to make sure you saw it.
What happened?
Oh yeah, no, he was in studio view. I don't think
Cool.
they see
Yeah,
his
that's
name.
right.
Our
they
confidence
didn't
monitors
Should
are
be good in the
Just
negative
being safe.
world
Just
again.
being
see it.
safe.
Yep. Thanks.
Sorry. Continue, Andy.
Plot. Oh,
Go for it. Plot it up.
Everybody! Plot! Welcome to She-Hulk,
God,
everybody.
it's weird how much I've missed that.
I was really hoping Kevin.
I was waiting for the
I
smoke.
was waiting for the smoke. But I was hoping Kevin was
going
going to do it like just a little too late.
Welcome to She-Hulk, everybody.
Everybody.
Welcome to the plot of She-Hulk. If you've never joined us for MCU TV show before, we go through episode by episode with some notes. So we'll start with the first episode, A Normal Amount of Rage. What is it, Tim? It's another good... so let's start at the end, and then we'll get back to it. You know what I mean? We start at the end. Jennifer Walters about to go in, present her case, right? She's about to go in there, rock some socks, be an impressive assistant DA, maybe make her way up the ladder. But then, guess what? We find out she's already She-Hulk. She breaks the fourth wall and starts talking to us, and we're like, what? And then we rewind time to find out, of course, what we already knew, but she's cousins with the one and only Bruce Banner, the Hulk, right there. And he's got a little metal spider on his arm, and that keeps him from getting all hulky, right? And so they go out, they're tootling around, they're going to a family reunion or driving a car, getting some barbecue. Nobody fucking cares.
Yeah.
And they're like, doo-doo-boo-dee-dee-dee. They're singing, they're having a great time, right? And then what happens? Big old hand in the road, and they try to swerve around it. They flip the fucking car.
A big hand?
Yeah, I don't remember why they swerved the fucking car.
It was the ship from Sakar.
All right, close enough. You know what I mean? I watched the Addams Family values.
Yeah.
And let me tell
I
you,
imagine the hands from Elden Ring, the ones that crawl at you.
Kev, can I get me and Nick Cam?
Yeah.
Nick,
They
here's
don't
my
know.
problem.
They don't
right?
fucking understand.
No,
it.
here's my problem. You and I get
They'll
it,
never
right?
get it.
You're married.
Yeah.
Your wife says something that's patently false.
Yeah.
And you give her the correction, and then she's like, no, I'm pretty sure it's this way. And you're like, wait. And then you're like, all right, we're just going to double down on this lie. Where she was trying to tell me Adam Family, where they go to the camp, came before Adam's Family.
And that's
I was like,
Adam's Family values,
how
yeah.
that doesn't make sense. Because, of course, remember, we start with Fester, not with the family. And she's like, no, well, that's going to happen in this movie with the what? I'm like, oof, no, I'm just going to leave you alone.
Would you believe that in my household, the roles are reversed? I am usually the one saying
Wrong?
something that's completely wrong.
Yeah,
Okay.
yeah. I digress. Back to this. All right, fine. It's not a fucking hand. All right, it's a goddamn spaceship. Anyways, they get in a car
Are
accident.
we
though.
back recording? We're back? Okay.
Her blood or his blood gets in her blood, and they're like, man, we got dual blood. And so she starts hulking out, right? And then she becomes Hulk and she runs around. And then like, she runs to a bar and like she's mean to some people. They're like, "Arr," and she's like gonna smash somebody, but then the Hulk grabs her. And then they wake up in like Mexico, right? And the Hulk's got her in Mexico, and he's like, listen, you got my blood in you. Here we're in Mexico, and like here we are in this Mexico. We're in this Mexico
So many
place,
Mexicos.
and we've got this little shack, a little island, and they got the tiki drinks. And Tony Stark made it with me, and this is where I've been chilling out and where I hit out and stuff like that. And I got a whole lab down here, so let's work on you being the Hulk. She's like, I got to get back to being a lawyer. I'm a lawyer, Bruce.
First, I'm a lawyer.
I'm a legal eagle.
Legal, they call her. And so he's like, you know what? Can't let you do that. Sorry, let's test you. And he puts her in the thing. We got to find out your triggers. I go back to Hulk when I sleep, or to Bruce when I sleep, and blah, blah, blah. And so then they try to crush her, and she becomes a Hulk. And guess what? She can talk. She's not crazy Hulk. You know what I mean? He's like, how can you manage your rage like this? And she's like, well, of course, I'm a woman. I have to manage my rage all the time because you men are stupid. And we're like, that's good. That's good right there.
True.
Stop me real quick on this episode.
Please do.
I said this, I think, earlier when we first watched it, but the Jessica Gao was saying that this episode was actually supposed to be, or at least most parts of this episode was like episode 8. And they ended up moving it earlier to like give the origin story, but it was going to be more of like a flashback where they just were going to drop us into her
her
being
life.
a lawyer and like her being She-Hulk, and then explain how she got her powers.
I like this better.
Yeah, me too.
I like this
totally.
better.
But it's interesting to see like this episode does feel different than the other ones. Like, and I think it's because that her and Hulk have action scenes and things, and there's not many action scenes in the rest of the
Sure.
episodes. But this one feels less comedy than I.
Well,
think
you
the
kind of
others
get
do.
to it right where they're every other episode from here. Not every episode. Most episodes from here, right, are going to be around a case. There's
Yeah.
going to be something going on.
Big thunderclap.
Yeah, they fight,
Cool.
right? And then the internet got super mad because the Hulk didn't immediately beat her. And totally, of course, negating the fact that the Hulk loves her. Why would he fight her? And he's just trying to stop her casually, but nobody wants to.
Yeah.
You know,
Internet has a point.
Critical thinking.
Just gonna take their
you're one of
side.
these incels. You're intelligentsia. She decides she's going to leave. Bruce is like, whatever. And so she goes, and she's going to go be a lawyer. And she's going to be a lawyer, and she's going to hide her powers, and that's great. So she's in court, and she's like, here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to object. I'm going to do this, and you should, do this, Judge Steve Harvey. And before Judge Steve Harvey can say anything, boom, Titania breaks through the wall, right? And she's like, I'm Titania. And everybody's like, I don't know who the fuck this person is. And
This is
then
fast. This is happening.
Yeah. And so then Jen's friend, what's her name? The one you love?
Oh, damn it,
Nikki.
Did you ever watch The Good Place?
No, I've seen a lot of it on
Oh, I
TikTok and
feel
clips
like-
here and there.
I feel like you'd love
You
it.
want the spoilers for the end of it? They're in the bad place. I know everything, man. Come on. You what
I
I mean?
know everything.
Here's the
Yeah,
other
I've
thing I'll
seen
tell you
that.
right now. Here's the other thing I'll say right now.
revealed pretty early on.
Modern Family, what a fucking show.
Thank you.
I've never watched an episode, but I see it on TikTok all the time, and it's like part 2 of 5, and I'll watch it. And I'm like, Modern Family, put it on the board. That's a nice show. I don't,
It
want,
is.
I,
It's a
I don't
quality
have
show.
the time to go watch it.
What's on the board?
But
What
Ed O'Neill is just delivering a hell of a performance.
Oh, yeah.
I like that Kevin's communicating now through the smoke machine. Kevin, are you here?
Kevin agrees.
He's haunting the place. He's stuck in the pocket dimension.
Anyways, so then she's like, well, fuck, I got it. Nikki's like, you got to do it. She's like, I don't want to do it. You got to do it. She's like, I'll do it. So she turns into Hulk, punches Titania, saves the jury, right? Because they're like throwing the big desk at him or whatever. And she shrinks back to normal Jennifer Walters. She's like, I'd like to present my closing audio. And then it's like, what? I said, put it on the wall. Kevin did what I asked. That's a good man. Kevin hit the smoke. This smoke's for Kevin, everybody. Round of applause.
Put it on the board.
And so then
I don't want to just fast forward and Greg just trying to say something while saying nothing for at least 5 seconds.
welcome back to In Review. Welcome back to In Review.
I don't know what was trying to get out
What did I get wrong? What did I do
It
wrong?
was just like, you were so, I thought you were gargling.
There's a post-credits here. This is the post-credits where, of course, we find out that Captain America isn't a virgin.
So
He
good.
had sex with Star-Lord's grandmother, and then Star-Lord's mother then is his daughter, and then Star-Lord
Shit
now
runs deep.
There's the whole thing James Gunn confirmed on Twitter, even though, he was like, I got no authority to do this, but I'm
That's
confirming
awesome.
it. So there you go, Kevin Feige. Stick it up. Your ass.
Wow.
Getting that quill wet.
Stick it up your ass.
Oh,
Jesus.
Jesus Christ,
Wow,
Andy.
his Peter.
God.
Up next, ladies and gentlemen, is episode 2, Superhuman Law. People know She-Hulk now, and they're like, wow, that's crazy. There's another Hulk, and she's a She-Hulk, and she's Jennifer Walters. That's rad. And people are like, yeah. But then the case she won in the last episode, it turns out she won the case last episode. The verdict is overturned, right, because the jury was sympathetic to her because, of course, she saved her life. And this is like, well, I'm glad you saved the people's lives, but you're fired. You're no longer allowed to be, you're not going to be an assistant DA or whatever. And she's like, oh, shucks, that sucks. And so that happens, and then she goes to the bar and drinks there. What do they call it? Legal Briefs? Is that what it's called? What's it called? It's got a fun little lawyer
Yeah,
name.
it did.
That's cute. I like that.
It was
Yeah, I
something
don't
like that.
remember the name
Chad,
of it.
I'm looking at you. I'm
The
looking over here.
bar is what they should
Oh, I
have
want to
called
see
it.
the
Bar.
hagglers.
Wow.
I think
that's
you're
true.
thinking the flight deck from Top
I
Gun
definitely
Maverick.
not think. Legalese says Infinite
Great Balls of
Corpse.
Fire. Never
Great Balls
forget.
of Fire.
Kevin, hit the smoke for
Where-
Infinite Corpse.
Where did Hulk drink when that ship picked him up?
Infinite Corpse.
Say that again?
Where did Hulk drink when the ship picked him up?
What do you drink?
Where did he drink? Where?
I don't know.
Just a car bar.
Yeah. That's
Thank
a
you,
rhyme
Kevin. That's
for you,
enough of that.
everybody. Didn't have to rhyme, but it did.
So she's fired. She's no
Hold on,
longer.
sorry, the smoke's not turning off. I'm not scared just yet, but that was quick fire. It shouldn't have gone that long.
There it
There
is.
it is.
We're gonna take a break. That's a wrap on the smoke for the rest of the episode. How about that, Infinite Corpse? Thanks for nothing. Anyways, fired. She's sad. She's dejected. And then the guy who runs the law firm that was the opposing counsel last time, he shows up and he's like, "Listen, you're great and you got a job, and because she doesn't get any other jobs to him because she's the Hulk, right? It's a big deal,
Right.
He's like, you got a job with us now. They have a funny name, GLK&H.
Yeah.
Gulk.
It's a bunch of names. It's the names of like creators of She-Hulk and like iconic.
Goodman, Lieber, Kurtzberg, and Holloway. Mm-hmm. There you go. She accepts as long as they'll bring over Nikki as the paralegal. They're like, that's a weird request, but okay. She shows up all excited to work her first day, and they're like, too bad. Toots, do the thing. Turn into She-Hulk. You're a superhuman law. You're the face of the superhuman law division. She's like, oh shit.
We're
So
not
she
saying
turns.
toots anymore, right?
Well, I think.
Are you saying like we should say it more, or you're saying, as a
I feel like it's dying out, and we should say toots
Yeah.
more.
Well, first
but
off,
I do feel like
call
it's
Jim
kind of
Toots
like
all the time, and it's,
Oh,
it's
really?
a term
Okay.
of
Hey,
endearment.
I call Greg
exactly.
Toots all the time, too.
And so I thought you were trying to say we should
canceled?
stop saying Toots.
Oh
Yeah.
no,
Like I'm like in then if you were at a Denny's, you're like,
Yeah.
hey, Toots,
Toots,
where's the coffee? Yeah, that'd be a problem. But
yeah, that'd be bad.
Hey, Toots, can I get a coffee? But it wasn't until I said we're not saying toots anymore that I went, is it because it's bad? And
Well,
I
yeah,
think
I mean,
it's kind
demeaning-
of like catcalling, right?
yeah,
Almost
it
feel
was
like
demeaning.
catcalling.
Yeah, it's demeaning to a woman.
Hey,
or
Toots,
whatever, yeah.
I
But
kinda
again,
whistle.
like not when I use it in a sweet sense and I call my wife Toots and she calls me Toots. It's fine, or she calls me Tootsie. It's cute. Anyways, here's another thing. While we're just here, if we're just gonna air it all, if we're gonna put it all on the table,
Let's lean back.
Nick?
Yeah.
I've never seen Tootsie with Dustin Hoffman. I don't think I'm gonna get around to it.
It's a strange one. I don't think you need to watch it.
You ever do that? Andy, I'm nearly 40 years in and I've never bothered. Have I seen Kramer versus Kramer?
Let me
Yes,
ask you
I
this.
have.
Have
Yeah.
you seen Mrs. Doubtfire?
Yes.
You've seen Tootsie. You're fine.
Okay, great. Okay,
Same
that's-
movie.
that's good,
Same
that's good,
movie.
that's
Same
good,
kids,
that's
actually, too.
And I think also, if just for the Kevin, I'm gonna need you to put this on the wall. Remember,
Put it on
I
board.
saw Dustin Hoffman at a hotel restaurant
Remember.
for breakfast. All right.
Remember, everybody.
So you might all be out there looking down on me, saying, "Oh, he hasn't seen Tootsie." Well, you never saw Dustin Hoffman, and he
In a hotel
smiled at
bar.
me. It was a restaurant. It was a restaurant.
Oh,
It was
restaurant.
I was trying to say breakfast, but I got caught up. It was during Judges Week, probably 2019.
Was Woody
Shutters
Allen-
on the beach.
Was he fucking freelancing for IGN or what was he doing?
He's like, I work for Andrew
He just got
Goldfarb.
done with the Bandai Namco appointment. He's playing.
Hilarious.
Anyway, where were we?
We were finishing episode
yeah,
1.
she's no, we're on episode 2 now. Remember, we're already there.
Yes.
So
Oh,
she's
you're right,
there
yeah.
now, and she's gonna
Real quick,
do
I
this.
want to say one thing that I didn't love is I'm such a stickler for like shows and movies sticking to their rules and the worlds that they build, and I love that she breaks the fourth wall, but I didn't like that characters around her did as well. Like when Hulk looked at the camera, and like there's the shot in this episode where she's like walking through the GLK&H, and she like walks by one of the rooms. They're like money, 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 like all that stuff. It's like it feels weird where it's like this is supposed to be the real Marvel Studios world, and it feels like too many characters are like in like the joke break
But
the fourth wall way.
I
My
didn't know
question
Hulk
there
was
is-
breaking the fourth
I don't
wall.
think in my interpretation of the scene you're talking about, where she turns to talk to us, and then Hulk turns to. My interpretation of that was she's breaking the fourth wall out loud, and he turned to be like, "What are you doing?"
Yeah.
Like I didn't see that he was breaking it to us.
I've just seen people think it differently. I'm with you actually on that one,
Okay.
but just more like the money, money, money scene to me. I was just like, this is weird.
I don't remember the money.
Yeah,
scene.
me either.
I can't stop thinking about it, everybody.
You want to have that in the conference room here one day,
Yeah.
where you walk by and Andy's and then money. Overall for a complaint in air quotes, which isn't for the show, because again, I read enough She-Hulk comics here and there growing up that I was like, oh, okay, I get it. I wish that we could have had in the beginning some kind of explanation from her, and I'm not even smart enough to write it, but like, was this a benefit of her powers that she did that? She knew it. I would have loved to. Don't worry, I'm not like Deadpool. I'm just, you know what I mean? Like, I don't know how you do it or craft it to make it make sense so it's not jarring, because it isn't jarring overall. Once the show gets going and we know what the show is, okay, cool. But it was a weird one of like, oh, okay. But are you Deadpool, but you're not Deadpool? Okay, whatever. Anyways. You work here now. Be She-Hulk all the time. You look bad in your clothes because you're She-Hulk, and these were little Jen clothes. And now, your first case on the superhero law division is going to be defending Emil Blonsky. He's up for parole. He's going to do this. Well, I can't do that, of course. You know, he tried to kill my cousin Bruce, and they're like, well, you should probably talk to him. And yeah, exactly, of course, right?
It's really, really cool to, like, now that the show is done, we've seen it all, to see how they used all the legacy characters to just the utmost effect. Like, Blonsky was awesome in this show, and it felt like really cool to see a character we haven't seen for so long come back and like kind of get like a totally new storyline that like adds up and makes sense, and they kind of paid it off. I love that he came back multiple times and that this episode was just kind of his setup. And then we'll get to Daredevil later too, but like they just completely nailed that. They're like, okay, we can use him. What should we do with him? Let's do it all.
Yeah, so she finds that out. She calls Bruce. This is where we get the funny joke of Bruce being like, that was so long ago in Harlem. You know, I'm a completely different person, literally. And she looks at us, ha. Of course, making reference to Edward Norton. It's great. Rest in peace. And then she's like, you know, she gets Bruce.
Still alive, Greg. Still alive.
Really? And he passed on these MCU movies. What's he doing these days?
I think he got into a fight with Josh Wheaton.
Makuga.
Whedon.
Joss.
Whedon. Joss
Joss.
Whedon. Joss
Love
Whedon.
you.
So much coming.
Joshua Wheaton.
Keeps on giving.
So she agrees to take the case, and they're like, great, turn on the TV. Here's footage of him fighting in an underground fight ring. He's fighting some guy who can make donuts in the air. Oh my God, what the hell? And that's the end of that one. Then there was an after credits here too. I forget which one this one was. It wasn't as good as Captain America having sex.
Oh, it was just wasn't it her at her parents' house and like helping them move some shit?
Oh, right.
Right,
Yeah.
water jugs. Yeah. Of course, we know this too. Of course, remember this is because we went to her parents' house when she lost her job and was down in her luck, right? And of course, her dad, the other guy from not Balky from Perfect Strangers.
Oh my God, Larry!
That's right. That's right.
Wow.
Yeah.
Fucking missed
shit,
you
you're
guys,
not
man.
wrong. That's
Nailed it.
incredible.
Nailed it. Everybody nailed it. Everybody. So yeah, now we're
Talking
on
like it's somebody you went to fucking high school with.
Larry?
Larry from Math? What's he doing?
They don't fucking get
They
it.
don't, guys.
They don't fucking get it, dude.
You don't understand, all right? In like 1989, we only had 3 or 4 channels that had decent
don't
programming.
fucking
So
get
you
it.
felt like you knew Larry and Balky.
Got
and
it.
their
Got it.
Larry? Are
shenanigans.
you kidding me?
Come on. Do you remember Perfect Strangers? He had a goat at one point. Episode number 3 is called The People versus Emil Blonsky, right? She goes to talk to Emil, who's totally chill now. He's totally a better person. Namaste and all that shit, right? And he just wants to be released so he can go home to his many wives that he has had. And he's like made a cult basically, but he wants to go do this thing. And she tests it and is okay. Well, you know, could anybody corroborate that you know, were being forced out of here or whatever? He's
Good
like,
word, corroborate. by the way.
corroborate. Yeah, it's a big legal word, legalese.
Legal stuff's cool, man.
It is.
You know, like
Here's
seeing them within the courtrooms, they're just going back and forth. I'm like, I need to watch more actual legal stuff.
But it was
'cause, like,
never cooler until her and Matt Murdock were doing it.
very cool.
Like when he was popping off and just like really showing off, and she was like, "Who the fuck's this asshole?" Like that, in my opinion, was the pinnacle of all the law stuff. Because the rest of it was mostly played for, you know, hey, I'm a silly fucking guy who messed up, and you have to defend me. And I just don't feel like there was a whole. It was mostly played for comedy. I really enjoyed the serious aspect. They kind of the serious angle they took there with Matt Murdock.
We've covered it before on this show, all right? But I'd be a great waiter. You know what I mean? I could fucking clean up on tips at Buffalo Wild Wings. At Buffalo Wild Wings,
I
if
thought
you're
you said
watching,
waiter, yeah.
if you're watching, the offer still stands. I would be such a great lawyer. Not current Greg, who's got a couple screws loose and just giggles and
Yeah.
laughs all the time. That would be a big
The jury
problem.
would really love it if you just
cackling and
randomly
wheezing.
started cackling during your opening
But
remarks.
here's the thing about the American justice system, all right? All you need
Stop
is
it.
reasonable doubt.
What do you know about worldwide justice system?
Well, I don't know. I know in England they wear wigs, right? We've talked about that before. Here, though, I'm saying like reasonable doubt, Andy. The amount of times I would get up there, like I would, you know, it's kind of like when I was a reporter, I'd often open with just 1 sentence or 2 sentences as my lead or whatever, and it would hook you, get you in there. This one would be the same thing of just like being up there, like, look, ladies and gentlemen, I know it looks bad for my client, Nick Scarpino, all right? But nobody has a positive eyewitness. There's some shaky camera footage. Does he not look like every other white guy you've ever seen? You know what I mean? What do we really have right now to convict on him? And this is my thing. I'm not saying he's a good guy, ladies and gentlemen of the jury. Lord knows he's not.
dirtbag.
Lord knows he's not, right? You've seen witness after witness today come in and tell you
Many
horrifying
eyewitnesses.
stories. But what I'm saying is, beyond a reasonable doubt, ladies and gentlemen, beyond a reasonable doubt, have they shown you, the prosecution, beyond a reasonable doubt, that this man cut off a hand and left it in the middle of the road, and that's what caused the car accident? Thank you.
It's a callback,
And they'd be
everybody.
like, you know what? Shit, fuck. As long as I get one person on that jury, I think, I'm not really sure. As long as I get one person to be like, you know what? That's it. Done.
Is that how it works, Nick?
Yeah, I just keep thinking about that quote from Old School where he's like, at no point during your incessant rambling did you come to your class. We're all dumber for having listened to you.
First off, that's a huge mistake on your part. It was Billy Madison.
Ah, it was Billy
We're
Madison,
back in the
that's right.
studio. Our game needs to be elevated, all right? Shout out to Cameron Kennedy, who saw my whole thing where I went from being below people to above people. That's acting. And if you're
Yeah.
watching and you're like,
Yeah.
how did this guy get in the Ghostbusters video game? That's how, Andy.
Good use
Actor.
of physical space.
I now realized, Tim, that when Greg was referencing that there was a hand, I didn't know he meant it was like.
Physical
Small
hand.
hand.
I didn't know he meant like a normal human
Yeah.
hand because like it was obviously a big shit.
It must have been a big
that-
hand.
So like I just thought it was like a big monster
Me too.
hand creature.
Yep.
No,
Yeah,
he
but
just,
No, he was thinking Cousin It,
Yeah,
which is a
I-
normal
you know,
size
exactly.
hand.
I'm glad
Or no,
that
thing,
we are all on the
right?
same page of
yes.
not being
No,
on the
you're-
same
you're right,
page
you're
with
right.
Greg.
Gotcha.
Back to it, ladies and gentlemen. Like I said, Emil Blonsky, yeah, I can't tell you who, supreme sorcerer of the mystic arts, Wong. And then, she's like,
Wanna see
okay.
you.
Yeah, and so she's like, all right, cool. I'll get Wong on the phone, get him in here and do the thing or whatever, and then get the Wong going. And so she gets Wong came in, and then they meet and they do the thing. And then in trial, it's time for that, and then Wong doesn't show up, but then he does show up, and he comes in, and he's like, yeah, totally. That's what happened here. I took him out. I'm sorry. And they're like, all right, cool. You're paroled. You can go to your 17 wives, Emil. And he's like, yay, but you can never turn into the abomination. And he's like, chill, cool. I'm going upstate. Doesn't matter to me.
A
Yeah.
new person.
I have a question about the Wong abomination relationship.
They're homies.
But why?
Because they're homies.
Like I know that at some point I should just not ask questions, but it just like I know the answer is just because it's a show and they wanted them together. But like I just don't understand in world why Wong would seek him out of all people.
Well, I think he
Did you watch
he
the
needed him-
drpepper.com shorts? And you thought you stopped and be like, shit, were there drpepper.com shorts?
I was like, is there a
got me.
drpepper.com? Like, is there,
got me.
I was like, how
what
the
hung you
fuck
up.
do I
I
not
was
know
like-
about this?
Nick's mind went to is there drpepper.com.
I assure you there is. I assure you there
we're
is.
gonna
Oh
try
my
it.
God, I love it.
My,
No,
my
it's a great
thought on
point.
it. My thought on it was that he needed to test his skills to become Sorcerer Supreme, and grabbed Blonsky, and it was like, this guy's not half bad. We're homies now, and that's just how it is.
A sparring partner.
Cool.
I can
That's
see that.
just
Okay.
kind of how I've gauged it, where it's like I'm gonna use you, and the guy's like, I don't really want to do this. Like, oh, you're not too bad a guy.
And if you don't
They go to
spar with
Starbucks
me,
to
I'll
hang out.
teleport you to a jail or
Cut your
something.
hands off.
Exactly.
Yeah.
And
Put
you
him
know,
on the road.
again, I just love the She-Hulk's use of the MCU. Like I love that it straight up is the scene from Shang-Chi. Like I love that
Yeah.
that was set up, and it was weird that Abomination was in that there, and like having him here, it's like, oh, you gotta love it.
And that was a cool thing too, because that was one of people's complaints when it happened of like, wait, why aren't they using the Shang-Chi stuff? And like, where is it going to fall in the timeline? And yada yada yada. And they make use of all of it. Nail it. He's out. A great part where the parole board turns to Wong, and they're like, you admitted to busting out like a felon. Like you're going to be on trial for that. And he just goes whoof, and leaves or whatever.
See you later.
Did we already do the Soprano jokes in here? No, that's next episode. That's next episode. I digress.
We have not got there yet, Greg. No.
So then he's out. That's great. All's well there. Then it's time for the shape-shifting light elf.
Boo.
Boo.
Man, not a
Lame.
great
A
episode.
forgettable one. They put too much in here. It should have just been the abomination case, and that would have been fine. Or it
Is this
should have
also
next
the
one.
dating stuff as well, where she starts dating, or no?
I think it is where we start seeing all the different
jump in.
dudes like Todd and all them.
Everything with the light elf stuff caused me to worry.
Yeah, you're right. Well, no,
Like-
you're not, because it's next time around is where we get Madison, and they interrupt her smooching on the couch. Remember?
Throughout this whole sort of
She might build the app here. or the thing,
throughout the whole sort of court sequences, I was like, oh no, I hope this isn't going to be
The
the
light
show.
out stuff was in the Emil Blonsky.
Yeah, I know, but they're talking about the dating, and the dating I think is in the next episode.
Oh,
is
yeah,
what I was
yeah.
saying.
The
This is
light
the
of
best
stuff, I
episode.
feel like, was where the comedy wasn't the strongest in the show, but I did like the inclusion of it from a like lore perspective of it being the Asgardian stuff. It's like just cool to using all of the things that they had to play with. But I didn't like the actress, and it felt
Yeah.
a little
It was
little
weird.
wrong.
Not great.
Forgettable is how I
It
feel
was
about
the
it. Except for the
Tracy
Megan Thee
lady
Stallion, right?
from
Making the
That was
sound.
great.
Of course.
Yeah. And then at the very end of the episode, Jennifer's walking home to her apartment and gets jumped by some people with new Asgard weapons or
The
whatever.
Wrecking Crew,
I'm not familiar.
F-list MCU.
One
or
of 'em comes back,
Marvel
right?
Comics
Well,
things.
yeah,
and
yeah,
one of them comes back. But
Spoilers. No future spoilers.
Then we're on to episode number 4. Is this not real magic? Honestly, probably my favorite
The best
episode.
episode.
My favorite episode of the season.
I mean, there's one reason, and one reason alone, that honestly, arguable that this is the number one on the MCU list. That's Madison.
Yeah.
How do you spell it, Nick?
2 N's and 1 Y, but it's not where you think.
In fucking incredible. I don't think anything's ever been funnier to me in my life.
I
than that line.
texted Tim Geddes after I watched that, and I was like, bro, you got to prepare me for shit like this. You know, I got an old heart. I can't laugh this hard. You got to let me know.
He actually did.
I knew that it was going to be perfect Nick comedy, and I think my
Because-
favorite line in the whole episode was her walking and saying, "Here's my drink. You can have some. I'm not sick."
Yeah.
Like it's little jokes like that that just like really make it whole.
Wongers. What's up?
And putting her with Wong, it's like, God, they just get it. They just knew what they were doing, and I hope we get more of her.
Well, that was also the episode where she has that great line where she's like, "I know Wong's in this. It's like internet armor, Twitter armor, whatever
Yeah.
it was." I was like, "That's hilarious," because it's true. Everyone
It's
loves
so
Wong.
true.
Everyone loves
You always
Wong.
get a pass Wong or something. But that character for me, that's a perfect level of my humor, where it starts, and I'll say it, Andy, it's annoying at first, and then after a few months, you get to know me, and we hang out, we play some streams together, and then I'm like,
Play some
"You're
streams.
laughing."
You're talking about yourself. Huh?
Am I?
His comedy, yeah. his
My comedy, my level of
Oh,
comedy.
okay.
My point is it was the perfect amount of beats to the point where I'm like, oh, this character's annoying, and then it came back. I was like, okay, we're calling it back. By the third time she came back, I'm like, she
I
needs to be
need
a
more.
staple in my life.
Yeah.
That is perfect.
Yeah, absolutely. I thought the episode really worked with the action scene. I thought it was a lot of fun. The magician stuff.
Donnie
One-
Blaze was great, and
So
his
good.
sidekick, the old man, was great too.
Yeah.
The guy who's just this hype man the
Now-
whole time, just laughing.
fact about that guy.
That's fucking
That is
great.
pretty unbelievable.
He's super old, right?
104 years old.
Yeah.
Is he really?
In real life.
Damn,
Wait,
dude.
who?
The like magician
Donnie Blaze
sidekick
is
dude.
his sidekick, dude.
No way.
Yeah.
That guy was awesome.
Yeah. Pretty cool.
In real life.
In real life.
Yeah.
Am I being trolled right now?
You're not. This is not a Dr. Pepper situation.
He found Stan Lee in the river and brought like
we-
the baby. You know what I mean? You see where we're going with this?
I went a much darker
Wow.
way, Greg.
Do we think that Madison comes back?
Yes.
She has to.
She has to, right?
Yeah.
But not in. I mean, obviously in the show,
They-
they'll bring her back for an episode. But do you think she ever makes it
Yes.
to the
At some point,
big screen?
they're gonna need Wong's help, and he'll
be hanging out with Madison?
He'll be like, "I'm on my way," or have the thing, and then she'll step in the background, like, "I gotta go."
I mean, they set it up so great where he was watching the shows, then he was watching the shows with her, and then in the last episode where he was like, it's just a really good
Bottomless
time
gin
for
and tonics
TV.
or whatever.
You know, he's like, we just did a great time
We
for
just did a
TV
great-
right
the
now.
golden era
But
of
he was
TV.
watching The Sopranos, which came out like 20 years ago.
But you also got to assume that they saw the
love.
reaction
Yeah.
to her. Like everybody loved her. I think that's one sort. Well, not everybody, but you know what I mean. Like I think she
Us, we
was
matter.
such a shining star in that one episode.
And she got her own poster, which
Yeah,
I just
it's
freaking
great.
love.
So
Yeah, look,
funny.
What does it say?
What the fuck?
104 years old.
Oh
Okay.
my
What's
god!
it say my age, isn't it?
Anyways, so this is the whole thing.
58.
We've already talked about the beats, so we can just go fast. Donnie Blaze is there. He's a bad magician. He uses his sling ring. He opens the thing. Madison goes in. She eventually gets dropped on Wong's couch. He's watching The Sopranos. Did a second-rate magician named Donnie Blaze send you here? Yes.
She goes, what happened? She's like, I had to give a pig creature my blood. If my
Yeah,
sister
yeah,
has my
yeah.
blood. God, that was so
Dude,
fucking.
do
you think
That's the point where I
a
was like,
Mephisto
okay.
thing?
I see what you're
Mephisto, I mean, yeah. I mean, okay. Couple crazy theories out there that like I don't fully buy, but I love if this ends up being a thing, it'd be awesome. And I feel like it's the type of thing that might not have been planned, but now they're like, oh, we could use this. People pointed out that in one of the episodes we see Nikki, who is another one of the greatest characters ever. Absolutely love her every scene she's in, where she looks at the camera, like she kind of breaks the fourth wall.
yeah.
Oh.
And while she's doing that, she's wearing earrings that have the same like marking, like logo thing that Agatha has on her.
Oh.
On her.
So
Like
she's
a rune or something like that?
Yeah,
or?
like a rune looking
Oh
thing.
wow!
And then also she's wearing a like witch symbol on her necklace. So it's like, oh, they could turn that into something that'd be fun.
I'm just used to like whenever I want to clear my throat, I just
Dude,
the mic.
honestly, I keep trying to mute
Muting
this
the
and I
mic?
can't.
Yeah.
It's weird. Really weird. What is the best Madison line is her explaining her name. Second best Madison line is the first it was spooky.
Yeah.
What is the exact line
I
there?
can't
First
tell
it was
you.
fun, then it was spooky, and then it was fun spooky or something like that, which is While you look that up, that's one of the things that I actually really liked about this episode was that it actually relied on her doing the court case. Like and it brought in an interesting moral conundrum where it was like, why does Wong get to do magic and then not, and no one else can? It's not like it's a legally sanctioned thing in the United States, right? And so that's what I hoped the show would do, which was actually put out that like a legit legal argument in front of us and have them argue it out, and they did, which is cool.
So he says at first it was fun, then scary, then fun again. Then spooky, but in a fun way.
So good.
Great stuff, yeah, right. And so, yeah, that happens. Then, Donnie, they sue Donnie Blaze to try to get this. His lawyer is also a lawyer, or is also a magician, which I thought was hilarious. They call it out. He's got the money. They can't get the injunction to stop it, even after Madison's testimony, where she's pulled from yet another bar. It continues to go on. Meanwhile, yes, there it is. Jennifer Walters creates her dating app profile, so we get to see her date all these complete losers as Jen Walters until finally, she's like, you know what? Does a She-Hulk profile that blows up. She does a great fourth wall break to us. So this is a major blow to Jen's confidence.
Yeah, I love that.
But she goes out with a bunch of people who are either cool or like super crazy lame intelligentsia guy whose name escapes me. And then she goes out with the big guy, Todd. And they have a great time, and then they go home and they're gonna get it on. But while they're about to get it on, Donnie Blaze was doing a magic show, and that shit got out of control because he used the sling ring and he let in a bunch of monsters. Madison had ruined the Sopranos. Now the gate gets open from Donnie. He goes and gets She-Hulk. They come back and they fight a bunch of these the demon creatures and throw them back in their own dimensions. This then gets them to do the cease and desist, so they don't have to do this anymore, and they win the lawsuit.
The show's awesome, man.
100%.
Going through it when it's all like this quick, it's like, damn, they did a lot.
You would think that you would also get the doctor spelled out in drpepper.com.
Oh,
but they didn't do it.
Oh, you're saying that if you...
Wait.
Oh, I see. There's no redirect to DR
No,
Pepper?
it's drpepper.com.
And when you put in Dr. Pepper, what happens?
Very unsecured site.
very unsafe.
A lot of red things.
We've just been broken into.
Yeah.
Like, what does that even mean?
Apache is functioning normally.
Y'all just got fucking hacked.
Anyways, it seems like all is well that ends well because, of course, she hooks up with that. She comes back to hook up with that guy, Todd, and then instead in the morning she's looking cute in her t-shirt, making coffee or whatever. And Todd comes out, and he's creeped out. And he's like, "What?" And she's like, "Oh, I'm the Hulk, but I'm just Jen." And he's like, "Oh," and he's totally turned off, obviously, by it, and he leaves awkwardly.
I thought Todd was the bad guy at the end.
I don't know. I was trying to get to who she was gonna fuck that night.
There was like crosstalk of it. Todd was the dude.
Intelligentsia dude.
Todd's the
Gotcha.
intel- yeah,
Okay.
the
So back to old
intelligentsia
Meathead Jones here is what we're calling this
Meathead
guy.
Jones.
Meathead
Meathead
Jones
Jones
leaves, and as he leaves, there's a knock at the door. She opens it. It's a process server. They have a funny exchange. And
I
it
love how
turns
she's
out-
like, I've seen one of y'all.
Yeah, I know what this is.
I know I'm getting excited.
And Titania is suing for the name She-Hulk. She's trademarked it or whatever, and that is the end of the episode.
But before we move on to the next episode, Greg,
Yes.
I'd like to tell you about our sponsors. Shout out to Shopify, the way that we and Rooster Teeth have powered the KindaFunny store for years, and we absolutely love it. You can get this shirt there right now. Shopify makes it simple to sell to anyone from anywhere. Start selling with Shopify and join the platform simplifying commerce for millions of your favorite businesses worldwide. Shopify has all the sales channels sorted so your business keeps growing from an in-person POS system to an all-in-one e-commerce platform, even across social media platforms like TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. It's how every minute new sellers around the world make their first sale with Shopify, and you will too. Shopify makes selling simple so you can put yourself and your ideas out there. When you're ready to launch your thing into the spotlight, do it with Shopify, the commerce platform backing millions of businesses down the street and around the globe. Go on, try Shopify for free and start selling anywhere. Sign up for a free trial at shopify.com/KFgames, all lowercase. That's shopify.com/KFgames to start selling online today. shopify.com/KFgames. Next up, shout out to Raycon. I'm excited to tell you all about their new Raycon gaming series. The gaming series consists of two staple gaming audio products, the wireless gaming earbuds that are compact, portable, and universal, or the wireless gaming headphones that are comfortable and immersive. The HyperSync low latency technology lets you hear what you see lag-free. That's always great for games. Of course, because no gamer's just a gamer, Raycon's gaming series is just as perfect for music, podcasts, and crystal clear phone calls. Personally, I'm a huge fan of bumping these with a haptic vibration. It's the extra type of way that I like to live. It keeps me extra immersed in all of the sound. As always, you get a 30-day Raycon happiness guarantee with free shipping and returns, no questions asked. They also offer buy now, pay later options. So stay on the winning team and go to buyraycon.com/kinda today to get 15% off your Raycon order. You'll also get $20 off Raycon's gaming earbuds or $10 off their gaming headphones. That's buyraycon.com/kinda to score 15% off and even more savings. Buyraycon.com/kinda. Plus, this October, Raycon's got some special pricing up to $20 off. Don't miss out. Buyraycon.com/kinda. And now we're back. I guess we're going to edit this one.
How about that?
We move on to episode.
Wait, we're supposed to play? I literally just walked out there and asked Barry, and he said no.
Okay, then no, we're not.
Okay.
Yeah, I figure what Patreon kids are watching.
That is correct.
right?
That is correct. That was a mistake on my part.
Here's what would have
Double
happened
check.
there. You would have played the ad, Cody and Melissa Hagler. Pissed.
Listen,
They
Uppercut
send you
you.
a tweet.
Double uppercut.
They're on the Reddit. They're in your email.
we're gonna make it okay right now.
Hagglers!
Yeah.
Anyways, number 5. Mean Green and straight poured into these jeans. This is the one where, the She-Hulk trademark thing's going on. I don't remember this episode well, so I'm reading here. Holloway warns Walters that she needs to deal with the situation quickly and assigns Mallory Book as her attorney for the case. Oh, because she can't represent herself.
Right.
Yeah. Nikki and Pug come up with a plan to acquire a superhero outfit from Walters for Luke. From Walters Forum, Luke Jacobson, a highly executive. I'm not trying anymore. It's just like you got to power through it, Andy. I tried multiple times to land the plane. We got to just fly to the next. I'm passing O'Hare. I'm landing in Iowa. All right, I haven't got time for this.
I'm laughing at what Nick slacked me.
damn
Earlier,
it.
we were having
We
a
said-
conversation, and he was like, "We're the best." And I said, "We really are." And then about 30 minutes later, I said, "What's up? What are you doing after this?" And he said, "I got some stuff to do." Why? Should we finally fuck Greg up?
I'd love to see you
got
guys
it coming,
try.
bro.
I
You
might
got
not
it
be able to
fucking
outrun you,
coming.
but I could beat your ass.
Maybe I'll chase your ass down like a fucking rat.
Yeah, so she's going to get the super suit made there. Then while that's happening, they go after her to countersuit Titania, exploiting She-Hulk's name. Walters is annoyed to discover that Todd Phelps, one of her unsuccessful dates, is also a client at her firm, but this helps her realize that she can use the dating app history to establish a past record of her identifying as She-Hulk before Titania tried to gain the trademark. Using her past dates' testimonies, Walters wins the case and establishes a tentative friendship with Book. Walters later acquires the new costume outfits from Jacobson. I feel like this is a forgetful episode, personally. I enjoyed it. I enjoyed all these episodes, but again, that's the one where
Is
like,
this
oh,
where
shit,
we
what
get the
happened?
little hint to the Daredevil costume when it's in the box? Is this at the end of it?
Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah, this is the very end. Yeah, the very end.
I
was
liked
cool.
this again. I think because it leans into the legal battles of the show, and I liked that it was clever. Right? She was conflicted and went on the dating apps as Jen, and then was like, "Fuck it, I'll be She-Hulk," and then that actually ended up helping her. And it was a good setup. You know, Andy's just gonna leave.
There's no
He's done
way to
with
go
show.
to the bathroom or get another drink in this studio and not seem like you're pissed. Because Andy just got up like,
It is a long walk, you guys. And with
if
the
I'm
gym,
being-
you got to walk around. It's a whole thing.
If I'm being honest, while Andy's gone and he can't hear
Yeah,
us,
yeah.
when he walks, there's a certain like tightness to his lower
if
half
we're
as he
being
walks.
honest, and again, he's faster than me, so this isn't even a knock. I'm admitting that. I'm saying I need that on my record. You can take this. You can put it on the wall if you
Sure.
want. He doesn't swing his arms enough.
No.
There is some motion to the arms, Tim, but like not like a human motion.
He's at about I would say, and Tim will understand this. 20% Tom Cruise arms.
Oh my God.
20%.
Okay.
He could be at 100%. I'd be okay
Yeah,
with that.
I would love to see that.
Yeah.
Anyways, that's that episode.
That is.
Anything you want to add to that?
No, I mean, it was an interesting call to tease Daredevil and then not have him in the
For a
next
long time,
episode. I don't think it's the worst thing in the world, but like it was a call. I do love the idea of the Drip King. I love the idea of this guy being out there and like making the costumes on the
Yeah.
West Coast side.
Yeah.
Very, very cool. And like, that, I imagine, is going to turn into something that we hear more from in the future.
Maybe this would be where we get, cool outfits.
Maybe, Greg.
Number episode 6. What? Episode 6. Episode number 6. I put all those words into the first sentence with no real rhyme or reason. This one's called
The European way.
Just Jen. God, what is their problem? You know what I mean?
We're tired.
Hey, tell me the date. And they're like, well, first I'll start with the numbers. You have to guess the month you're in.
Makes
Just
sense.
Jen. This is
Love
the
the different title treatments, by the way. I love the Just
Oh,
Jen.
yeah,
I
yeah,
love the Savage Hulk or Savage She-Hulk. I love the when Titania like bought the rights to it, whatever. Good stuff.
So she goes to this wedding where she's like super stoked to go to the wedding and be hot as fuck and be the coolest thing around. And like, usually go to a wedding, you just got to sit there. Nobody cares who you are. They don't care how many Game Awards you have. But this is one of her chances to go there and have a South by Southwest award and have it really matter.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? Yeah, Nick.
Out of the people at the wedding, does anyone know what a Game Award is? Like, how many people do you think?
I mean, the
would know?
viewership goes up every year, so arguably, yeah. Just maybe not in the heyday of 2015, 2016. That's the big thing.
Back when it was like the real Game Awards, back when things,
Back when it was much smaller.
put a lot more
audience, you know
effort
what I mean? I
into,
feel like a lot of
figuring
people.
out who's who.
I don't think I'm asking too much for Jeff just to replay my speech at some time.
Maybe you should just start bringing that heavy ass trophy around with you at all the weddings you go to, so you can
heavy.
just show it to people.
It's not a bad idea.
I love this wedding episode. I thought they did a great job of like playing with all the wedding tropes and the like bridal parties and all the silly stuff. Like I thought it was very smartly written.
Yeah. And it's fun, and she has to be, little Jen in her little outfit. The big outfit was for She-Hulk, now it's small on her. Nobody really likes her all that much except one guy whose name escapes me as well.
Tom, I want to say.
Tom, Timmy,
Malone.
Tom.
I'll look it up.
Tom Malone from Catwoman.
Eventually, though, Titania shows up, right, and she's like, I am here to ruin the wedding. She's dating somebody there, but she's just doing it to get under Jen's skin. And she's like, I'm not here to ruin the wedding. She's like, yeah, you are. And then it's fine for a while, but then, Titania's like, now it's time to fight. And they fight, and they brawl in there. She thinks she's ruined the wedding, but guess what? The bride's super stoked to have She-Hulk fucking up the wedding because that's cool.
And I love that initial sort of approach where she walks up to it, she's like, She-Hulk is here at my wedding, and she plays a really funny drunk, it's hard to kind of pull off without being corny. I think she did a really great job of acting that.
It was a good boob joke. Don't remember it, but there was.
Oh, she was mad at her boobs. She was mad at like She-Hulk having big boobs and like jealous.
Yeah, and then later she like nuzzled.
Oh yeah, that's right.
Oh yeah.
Little nuzzle, boob nuzzle.
Meanwhile, back at the old law firm, Mr. Immortal is going to be the case of the week.
Oh my God!
was a good episode.
Incredible.
Enjoyed this.
Instead of whenever he wants to get out of one of his marriages or relationships, he just kills himself.
Yeah, one of the Great Lake Avengers, Mr. Immortal,
Okay.
and this actor. He was someone.
Yeah,
He was someone. I'm gonna look up who he was.
We talked about it. Damn it.
Yeah.
Larry.
Meanwhile, so Nikki.
Oh,
and
he was the guy from Book of Boba Fett. He was the mayor or whatever of
Hello, Boba Fett, it's
Tatooine
me, the
little area
mayor.
that was like one of the
that
Twi'leks.
The one that what's his face kills.
I don't think he dies, but anyway, he was really funny.
Oh no, yeah, he was the. My pull for him is he was the ex-husband on Veep, the shitty
Oh, that's
Not
right.
too.
asshole ex-husband that she kept having an affair with again because she kept banging him. It was hilarious.
I can't wait for HBO show to come back.
Yeah, which one? Curb?
Secession.
Succession.
Hell
Can't
yeah.
wait for that
Cool.
to come back, Greg.
Do you want to do? Can we do Secession in screencasts? I'd love to do that.
You should watch Yellowstone. It's like Succession,
I'm in the middle
but
of something.
Montana.
Can I do this?
Whatever you want.
All right, cool. Andy, you're doing Secession screencast
Oh
with me.
man,
We'll get Lucy James back.
I'm not looking forward to that show.
Why not? Anyways, so that happens. They get him out of it. Nikki earns some, gold stars from books because she's able to solve all this shit. Meanwhile, this is also when they figure out. I'm reading now the intelligentsia thing.
Great ending. Great ending to that episode. Is this the episode where she's like, promise me you won't call Jen and tell her?
Yeah,
She
yeah,
immediately
yeah,
calls
yeah.
her. She's
Yeah,
like, of course I'm calling you.
exactly,
Leave her a message.
Elsewhere, scientists working for Hulk King Spine Walters and plan another attempt to steal the blood sample from her. And this is the end of that one. Number 7 is The Retreat. Walters goes on several dates with Miller. Oh, no. That's what his name is. It's me. And they hit it. They're playing it cool and slow, but eventually she invites him in, right? And we're like, yay. And then she wakes up in the morning and he's gone. And then he won't text her back. And then she's driving up to The Retreat. She has to get Emil to sign something or whatever, right? And she's driving up and she's worrying about her text. But then there's a great insert of her. I think she's singing Mbop, right, or whatever on the radio.
Oh, killer.
I think that was it. It's great. But she gets up there and guess
Great
what?
music overall in the show in terms of licensed stuff.
Oh, yeah.
Like, I really
I agree.
liked how varied it was and like how often it came up.
And they get up there, and guess what? It's just the thing's broken, so they want to do this, and yeah, okay. Then there's an officer that came with her. That's right. And so he gets up there, finds out the thing's just broken. They fix it. No big deal. No harm, no foul. He leaves, but then Man Bull and El Aguilera, Andy,
El Aguila.
yeah, is that how I say that one? Accidentally destroy her car.
Yeah, El Aguila. Yeah.
That
Gotcha,
means
gotcha.
the eagle.
Thank you.
The eagle.
Forcing her to stay until we towed away. Despite the retreat lacking internet and cell coverage, Walters continues to nervously wait for a response from Miller. She attends a group therapy session with Blonsky, Manbull, the Eagle Man, Porcupine, Saracen, and the Wrecker, where she is convinced to delete Miller's contact information and let go of her feelings towards him. It is revealed 3 days later Miller secretly cloned Walter's phone and stole a sample of her blood on behalf of Hulk King after sleeping with her.
Really dark.
Really,
Yeah.
really
Yeah.
dark. And they went there with this too, with like the revenge porn stuff, or not
Yeah.
even revenge porn, just like the leaks.
Well, we're getting there, yeah. But
Yeah, I was surprised that they went that messed up with it, because like, I mean, they're setting up this intelligentsia stuff where it is just a bunch of like asshole dudes on
It's
the internet.
4chan, yeah.
Yeah, but then it's like it's gonna go bigger in future projects we see of like the real world government level issues with it all. But starting it with these like just like assholes, taking it that far, I thought like gave the show a little bit more, like that's the stakes of it, you know?
Yeah. I also wanted to shout out, like, it's such a drastic change in tone, and I wasn't expecting it to really go there, but not only was it a really, really sad ending, but I loved the kind of positivity that we saw from the group, given, like,
Yeah.
when they were kind of, like, encouraging her to drop this dude. I really liked, I wasn't a huge fan of the group dynamics until those moments later on where they were, like, convincing her, hey, drop this guy, he's not for you, you need to move on or whatever. For the most part, it kind of reminds me of the motley crew that you have inside of in Peacemaker, where I was like, I don't really love these guys a whole lot. I kind of felt the same way about this whole group until I think they really shined when they were convincing her to move on.
They get Porcupine to take off his mask. Like, oh god, put it back on.
It's
Put it back on.
awful.
Also, I just like that they're actually like trying to be good people.
Yeah.
It wasn't a red herring like we thought at the end when you saw Emil. You're like, oh, I hope he's just getting like he's just letting his greed get the most of him and doesn't realize what he booked. And of course, that's what it was. But the guy that's like, hey, like the guy with the ponytail is like legit trying to be a better person. You're like, oh, that's kind of endearing. It's nice that they stuck with that character.
The next episode, ladies and
And I just
gentlemen, gets us going. It's number 8, Ribbit and Rip It. Fuck. Yes. What an episode of TV here, ladies and gentlemen. They got Leapfrog, who got a suit from Jacobson. He said that it was supposed to be not flammable. It was supposed to be able to burn all the stuff, but there's jet fuel boosters, set it on fire. And so she wants, Leapfrog wants to sue Jacobson. Jen, of course, goes, our boss says this is a conflict of interest because, of course, he's making me a suit, and I really want to look good, and I really want cool stuff. At this point, the boss is like, no, you got to deal with it. You represented somebody who tried to kill your brother and destroyed Harlem. You can do this. So she goes to Jacobson, says to pick up her stuff, and then tells him that she has to do this. He gets mad. They go to court. In walks his attorney. It's fucking Matt Murdock, ladies and gentlemen.
Badass.
Fuck
Badass.
yes. Woo! Matt comes in, fucking wipes the floor with Jennifer Walters here in the lawyer sense, right? You know what I mean? He's got answers. He's got documentations. He's got quid pro quo. He's got pro bono. He's out there just doing it all. You know what I mean? But it gets there when, Eugene Leapfrog is like, and it was my suit. And then he goes, wait a second. What did you put in there? And he's like, I put in jet fuel or whatever it was. It's not supposed to burn that hot, idiot. This is user error. Case dismissed. You know what I mean?
He smelled that. He's got that good nose.
He does got that good nose. And something else good. You know what I mean?
What? No, tell me.
DD.
Yes.
D.
I
He's
think you're
laying
gonna go.
pipe all over this MCU if you
I thought
haven't
you were gonna go
noticed.
super gross and then go cock.
Jesus, Andy, this is a kids show we're playing.
No, but one time Greg said cock and it was really off-putting.
This is weird.
I was talking about a cock I had to do in the bathroom tile.
Oh,
know
Put
what
a,
I
you
mean?
put an L in there on that one for sure.
You never know where the L is. Jennifer goes to drown
not
her
what you think.
sorrows at the legalese, as I've known from the start of this episode. And guess what? Matt shows up and he orders her a drink, and he comes over and they start talking, and there's immediate chemistry, and it's fucking
like, you're
dope.
feeling this, right?
And he gets a phone call and leaves, and she turns to us and like, you're feeling this, right? Like, this is a thing, right? He says in a hurried voice, I have to leave. So he leaves, and then she pretty much immediately or in a little bit gets a call from Leapfrog, who says he's being beat up and chased and he needs help. So we get to the debut of her She-Hulk super suit, where she stops the car and finds the one and only Daredevil up there. And
With the music. They gave him the
Badass.
theme song. And it was
Badass
just
moment too, where he
awesome.
stands up and have that like dope ass beat drop
Yeah.
as we see the new suit for the first time. And I'm gonna say it, this fight was awesome. The way he moves, he can't beat.
he looks great,
her
dude,
at all.
especially like when he infiltrates.
Yeah.
When later on in the episode, because let's just get there now. So
The CG also looked really good. I think is what maybe
yeah,
it didn't look like a lot of superhero movies look whenever there's a CG person moving around where it clearly looks like a fake 3D model animating in a weird way humans can't. I thought it looked really convincing.
Charlie Cox actually said in an interview yesterday that for Daredevil Born Again, they're going to use more CG for this exact reason of making him a little bit more acrobatic and like make the parkour a little bit more cool superhero-y.
It was dope. Like
Yeah.
when him jumping off of the parking
garage,
structure and then
yeah.
just like catching himself. That's fucking awesome.
Charlie Cox did that practically though.
I heard that twice. They were like, Charlie, can we get one more take on that? He's like, no problem.
guy-
Are you talking about in the gap that she broke in the floor? Because I thought that was pretty.
No,
sick.
he did that, but then he jumps off and like every level grabs a hold of it as
Oh,
he's falling
yeah.
down, which was
That
super
was
cool.
cool.
And then when she takes a swing at it, what I like is she takes a swing at him, and instead of trying to hit her because he knows he can't stop, he just kind of does the Matrix move where he slides out and then pops
Yeah,
back
that
up and
was
keeps
sick.
running. It's super cool. Well done.
Let's try that right now.
You want? I'll take a swing at you, or Greg's gonna swing at you.
No,
Who's
I'm
swinging
gonna
at you?
swing at you, and you try to do the acrobat.
Why don't we both jump on Greg's back and just beat his fucking ass?
You guys couldn't, you know what I
fuck
mean?
him up?
I'd love to see you try. I'd love to see you try. Maybe if I was sleeping, you know what I mean? Because my first reaction will be, of course, to roll over, protect Jen. I'll take the beating. Then I'll make sure she's okay, right? And then she's gonna do that thing where she sleeps in boots, and her boots got knives, you know. She's gonna start kicking. You guys are in
Oh, those are
trouble.
heavy boots.
I think she
Sorry?
could have just had a weapon with
She's
her.
gonna,
Do you think
she's
it-
gonna do that thing where she sleeps in boots.
The other night,
with
she tried
knives.
to move that pillow you gave me.
so heavy.
It's so heavy.
Such a heavy.
She literally like, oh, what the hell's wrong with this pillow? Why is gravity work
There's a bunch
differently on
of
this
knives in
pillow?
it.
Do you think at a point 6 months into the boots, you're like, I don't think it's worth it because every time you roll over, you hit my shin and it bruises it.
Greg, you didn't check, but in the pillow is all chili.
Ah, you got me.
hilarious.
Anyways, we've covered the fight scene. Guess what? Jacobson got kidnapped by Leapfrog. This is now a team up. They're gonna go over there, top of the parking garage, come up with a plan. But again, there's no sexual tension. It's hot. And then Daredevil does the cool thing on the way down. Then he goes in there and he just fucks people up in the hallway, Daredevil style. It's
I mean,
great.
dude, like just
One
to stop you
shot.
right here, and
Stop me anywhere, brother.
I'm just so impressed with their use of Daredevil because there's a lot of times where, I mean, going back to WandaVision, we had Evan Peters as Quicksilver, and it ended up being not that. But it's like,
Boo.
if you're gonna have Evan Peters as Quicksilver, what do you need to do? You need to do the slow-mo licensed music moment. I can't believe they wasted that opportunity. Like, why even have them if you're not going to do the thing? This episode, they did the thing with Daredevil. They did all the things where they had the Matt Murdock versus She-Hulk legal battle. That was incredible. We got the hallway fight. That was incredible. We got them boning. And then we had the fun of it all, and it
Incredible.
all felt like Matt Murdock. It felt authentic to the character. I'm so impressed with what they achieved with this episode.
Did they ever explain how he's able to practice law in California as a New York attorney? Or do we not give a shit?
You have to go to drpepper.com to find it out.
Yeah, there's a short about that where he eats bazooka gel.
God, dude. Here's the rope. Here's the rope. Greg's right at the end of it. He's holding on to the end of it.
And it's not gum. So then, all that stuff happens. Like we said, they beat on Leapfrog, who they had the whole tadpole conversation in there. That was funny. They had a whole bunch of frog shit that was funny. Then they go home. They go bone, and then we get the awesome walk of shame. Daredevil just walking,
the best.
holding his
Oh
boots
my God.
on the lawn.
And then
yeah.
Nikki comes in. She's like, "There's a guy dressed as a devil who's doing the walk of shame outside."
Oh, it was you? Was it good?
Yeah,
Oh, it was
it
good.
was
Yeah,
real
yeah. And then we have another great moment with Jen where she's like, "This isn't over. That seemed like a natural end. That's not the episode. Oh, they're doing
get
this.
the
We're
little
building
Wolverine
this thing.
cameo
Yeah,
kinda
yeah.
fake
What are we
thing.
gonna do?" And so it's that she's been nominated for a Female Attorney of the Year award or whatever. Like, oh, okay, cool. So they get ready for the gala. They go to the gala. She gets there. She invites her entire family. They get to the gala, and then it's the winner is Jen Walters, and this one, and this one, and this one. It's totally just one of those like fucking stunts. It's just a PR stunt.
Yeah.
They give a thing to everyone, then they get online of asking, "What's it like to be a woman and an attorney?" or whatever, and they all have bad answers. And Jen gets there, and rather than totally dog on it, she takes a moment to thank her parents, but it's interrupted by an intelligentsia broadcast talking about you shouldn't be honoring She-Hulk. She's horrible and she's terrible, and she's also a slut. I like that they were like doing it live, and they totally like, she's also a slut. Yeah, she's also a slut.
Yeah,
blah,
yeah.
blah, blah. And then
Not very well planned out. They just kind of
yeah. They hack the thing, and they're showing all these photos, and then they start showing the sex tape that was made with Miller or whatever from the cloned phone. Jen loses it, starts tearing the wall apart, and really kind of hulking out, and like, and she turns around and sees the horror in everybody's faces, but then also sees a guy pull up a mask and start to run, so she gives chase to him. But when she gets outside, Damage Control is there with their guns drawn or whatever, and again, everyone around her is just horrified, and we end the episode there. We pick up with the finale now. Whose show is this? Jen is released from Damage Control's custody, but she has to wear the same kind of inhibitor Bruce does, so she can no longer become the Hulk. She's, of course, fired from her job. That's the end of that. And so she's super down and depressed. And so what happens from there, she's just super depressed about it. And then Pug and Nikki are going to try to bring down Intelligentsia from the inside. And that's great. Remember, Nikki gets an embarrassing video of her dancing from college from her mom with her thong hanging out and posts that on the site to earn Intelligentsia's credits.
Trust.
They say, okay, but then Pug's got to go do it. He's got to go in there and have the one thing on.
I love the moment she's like, "Oh, the mic's out, just improv." Like, he can't improv. Like,
Yeah, what do I say?
It's so great.
I will say, I shout out to that guy that plays Pugs too, because I like him a lot.
Yeah,
he's a
he's
very
such an
likable
airhead,
guy.
yeah.
Just not wanting to be there at all.
I like that guy.
And I love that they have the Iron Man 3s where it's like all the superhero shoes and stuff. I'm like, this is
Yeah, we didn't
fantastic.
cover that in whatever episode that was.
This guy's
That was
great.
great or whatever. So yeah, they go to this thing where Intelligentsia is meeting. They're all talking shit. Sure as shit, Todd is there. Todd Phelps is there, and he's the bad guy. He's Hulk King, right? He says, yeah, he's Hulk King. And then Abomination walks in. You're like, oh no, Abomination's the bad guy. And then Jen was coming to meet with Emil because she needed help or whatever, and so she walks in on this. Everybody flips out about her. Emil scoops her up, showing that Emil was just hired to be a motivational speaker. He doesn't know what this is. However, he is violating his parole by being Abomination. He scoops her up. The Hulk smashes down. Hulk King announces that he's used her blood to synthesize it and become the Hulk because he deserves it. More than her. It should have been him. He starts to change, and then Jen does like the stop time Zach Morris thing. Like, wait, what the fuck are we doing? Like, this is dumb. This is happened before, well-worn territory. What the fuck's going on?
For you guys, did you have the moment where you're like, oh no?
Oh, yeah.
And then you're like, oh yes. Like it was so great.
And so, Titania shows up too. Eventually, though, then it goes back to your Disney Plus screen, which is so fucking good. She punches out the little Disney Plus tile, comes down, through the
Oh,
screen.
Marvel's assembled.
Oh, yeah, that'll work. And it's like
Yeah.
a behind the scenes thing. Come on, that's
Goes
great.
in there, starts yelling at the writers or whatever. They direct her. It all comes down to Kevin. She goes down a couple hallways, turns a corner.
Didn't like this fight scene. I thought it was unnecessary. Her going through. There he is. It's Larry himself.
That's cousin Larry right
Yeah,
there.
that's cousin
Donkey
Larry.
Martocamus.
Yeah.
Yeah.
The guy on the left looks like Mary or Pippin, one of them.
Does look like Pippin actually. It might be related.
That's Larry.
That's
you, Kevin.
Balky. That's Balky. Larry's the other
Larry's
one.
the other guy.
That's Balky. That's
Balky,
Bronson
of course,
Pinchot.
Bronson Pinchot. You
That's
remember him
cousin
probably
Larry right there.
prankster, right? In Lois and Clark. That's probably where you remember him from if you don't remember Perfect Strangers.
Thank you
don't.
for that.
No problem.
Very
No problem.
important.
You got somewhere to be? Huh? We build the studio. You want to get out of
Oh,
it that
there's
bad?
Kevin. He's so scary down there.
Hulk Kev.
Oh, he's Hulk. He's hulking out. I see. Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you,
So
Hulk.
small.
Somebody's making a point there. The fight scene. You're talking about the fight scene.
Oh
Which fight
yeah.
scene?
It felt. I don't know where. Like it's a fun song.
I
and
legit
stuff.
don't remember what you're talking about.
The hallway where she's like beating up the security, like after the writers to get into Kevin's room. It kind of felt like I get that they're breaking the fourth wall and they're just like, you get it, let's just move. But like I feel like we could have just skipped that. Like she could have just went in and it would have been okay. It,
Well,
like,
we need her being violent against random security guards. That
Yeah.
was
They
felt a
should've
little
gone
out of
another way.
place. You're like, that's
Should've
kind
gone
of
another
weird. We don't. It's like when Bruce and her fought. You're like, I get that someone here was like, we should have an action scene, but that's the antithesis of what this whole moment needed. And again, she walks in and starts talking to him like, this is a brilliant way to handle this episode. Because at the end of the day, to your point earlier, like, they can't necessarily, that maybe they don't have the budget to nail these fights, nor should they. They found a more creative way to end this episode that's funny and keeping in spirit to the She-Hulk, like behind the fourth wall breaking vibe, and they did it. It was hilarious.
I respect the bravery of it, man, because like there's so many ways that it could have not worked out. Like it's on paper, pitching this must have been such a difficult thing to do. Like you're telling your writers that you want to just. No, we're gonna make it look like a big fight. It's like, well, really? Like,
you want to know what's funny
What's up?
about this? Apparently the pitch went perfectly. Like they
Really?
were just like, this is great, totally cool. There was one thing that Kevin Feige was like, no, like you're going too far. The hat on the Kevin robot. They're like the one thing that Kevin Feige had an issue with is like why would the robot have a hat?
Hilarious,
And they're like,
'cause he was
it's your hat, and he's like, I know, but like, it just goes too far. And the showrunner had to be like, Kevin, like think about this for a second.
Yeah.
You're serious with everything I just pitched to you.
Yeah.
The hat's going too far. Kevin's like, you're right. Okay.
That's awesome. I love that. I love that.
That's why Kevin Feige's a homie. You know what I mean? He'll be on soon enough this show, right?
Oh yeah, oh definitely. It was a little hot.
So yeah, she goes in there and meets with Kevin, makes the X-Men joke we all love, talks about how this is just like the same thing we always talk about on these things, just like let's fight the villain that has the same powers of the hero, right? And that's stupid, and they should change that and all these different stuff. So she like takes away Todd's powers. That's not how that's gonna happen. She gets Bruce out of there. Why would she need to be rescued or anything like that? She does something to Emil. I forget. I think she makes him back into Emil rather than be that or whatever. Blah, blah, blah. But basically, all is well that ends well, kind of thing. And he agrees, and that's okay. And then she
sends
gets
him off to jail.
Yeah, she wants him to be accountable for his actions.
Yeah.
Sure.
And
Yeah.
so he submits to jail and then immediately.
Is he gonna be in jail for like 7 years?
10 years, and he
But he
immediately
gets
just
long
escapes.
bust him out right
to go
away,
hang out
right?
with
Oh, right.
Robert
Yeah, yeah.
Cameron.
It's similar to what I was saying about the Daredevil stuff, where they just like they did exactly what they had to do. I think the whole dialogue bit between her and Kevin was pitch perfect. Like I think they did everything that they should, and like all of it was funny. All of it was like the right references. Great performance. I mean, we've just went this entire time without even talking about Tatiana Maslany, which
So
in the
good.
screencast we talked about so many times.
Amazing.
She's so good, and I just feel like this scene was like very like perfectly done.
And so, yeah, she comes out of there, and everything we just said happens. Blonsky's arrested. So is Todd Phelps. That's all good. We go to a barbecue then with the family where she's with Matt Murdock, right? And they're making jokes about kids or whatever. And it's like, oh, this is moving fast. But yeah, come on, stick with it. Let's see what Daredevil Born Again is with She-Hulk hopping around.
I mean, real talk, I can't believe that they're a couple at the end of this. Like, we'll see if it sticks or whatever. But
Yeah.
like that, it's a cool call for them.
For
like,
sure.
to have that kind of moment be, you know, a change in the canon of MCU.
And then the Hulk shows up, and guess what, everybody? He went to Sakaar to get his son, Scar. And he's got a son named Scar.
He does.
Whoa.
Scar from Sakaar?
Scar from Scar.
And so here's the thing. Episode 1 of She-Hulk happens. We do our screencast. We talk about it. And I'm like, guys, I can't believe they're freaking doing it. We get the ship from Sakaar, and I was like, they're building, they're doing it. And I was talking about this kid. And I was expecting it, and I did not expect them to actually do it in the show. Didn't expect him to have it kind of be a comedy bit. I'm a little concerned about this. The Hulk kid, like, it's supposed to be a really serious, like, World War Hulk, like, scary situation of, like, big MCU stuff, not jokey She-Hulk stuff. They can figure it out, I'm sure. But one of my hesitations.
Did you find
here.
it what comedic? I thought it
Yeah,
was
what
just
was the
like,
joke about
here's
it?
the hint.
He got introduced. I didn't see him like then go.
Him acting like him being in control and being just like him
he's supposed to be
seeming
out of
like
control?
I mean, he's supposed to be like a Hulk, you know, like he's supposed to be more like he's supposed to be like Hulk was on Sakaar.
He's got cool hair.
He does.
Who's the mom?
I don't want to say it.
I mean, I'm just gonna
Linda
Google it if you know
Ronstadt.
tell
Don't
me.
be Googling. Don't be Googling.
I don't wanna
You should
know.
read World War Hulk. It's really good. Really good.
Cooler than tell Nick, and then
But
none you
you
tell
have to
me.
start at the 4th episode. I'll
And,
Google
and
it right
then
now.
she goes back to her job, and then Blonsky gets broken out by Wong to go to Comertage. And
I was
that,
like, what
ladies
took you
and
so
gentlemen,
long?
is
He's
She-Hulk.
like, you were watching The Sopranos again. We're like, we're just in an unprecedented era of TV. It was a great time for TV. Great.
And that's
I-
She-Hulk.
like, Tim would have said those words, and I would have gone. Like, I don't know
But
who the
then when
fuck
we
this
get
person is.
there-
but it's an explanation. Like just
Now
the
I'm
more
gonna
you
go-
look into it, you're gonna spoil yourself.
Now I
Don't do
gotta
it. Just
Google
don't do
this
it. Greg.
person.
Just don't do it.
Google it and tell me, and then I'll act like I've always known.
Okay.
What the fuck was that?
Are we playing it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
dude. Did it.
Well, I
did
was
it,
testing.
did
It
it.
was
Oh,
a test.
okay. I was
It
like,
was a
it's
test.
so
No, it was a test.
quiet.
Ragu. Bagu.
Was this person in the movies? Did we see? Is she in the
go.
background somewhere that I need to be
Hey.
paying attention to? Thank you. That was good. I like that. What's up, everybody? Welcome to Rad Guys Talk Bad Guys, the podcast within a podcast. This is where we rank all the villains of the MCU universe. I'm one of your hosts, Greg Miller, alongside Nick Scarpino, Andy Cortez, and Tim Geddes. On God Mike, Kevin Coelho. Gentlemen, we need to rank the villain of She-Hulk. I think the overarching one, of course, would be Todd, Intelligentsia, and Toxic Masculinity.
I like that. That's really good.
Remember, when we rank now, we have so many villains on the MCU in review list that is now we are now cranking past almost to 50. This will be number 50 we enter right here. We have S tier, A tier, B tier, C tier, D tier, F tier. Where do we want to put Todd, Intelligentsia for tiers, and Toxic Masculinity?
Real quick with that, even the toxic masculinity, I feel it's even just like kind of like superhero tropes as well. You know, like being the villain of this and how they deal with it. Like especially once you get to the end episode of like what did she actually have to overcome, and because of that, I'd put it even higher.
Should to
on the
overcome
list.
Kevin Feige.
Like all of that. Like I think it probably my gut says B tier, Or
B tier starts with Baconator.
Okay, then A tier.
Really? Okay. I was gonna go probably B tier, mid B tier. I mean, the thing for me is like it wasn't, even though it was the overarching sort of like thing, they bailed out of it at the end. I feel like that was the whole, like, I don't know. I just feel like it wasn't an imminent threat the entire time. I think it was more of a nuisance to at least the viewer. Where you're like, oh, that's a thing, right? Right, I forgot we're doing that. I thought it was gonna be a much bigger deal toward the end there, but she handled it in a more comedic and fun way. I don't know.
Greg Miller, can you
I don't
read
think it was
for
the
me?
focus of the story. Is what I'm trying to say.
Andy has the floor.
Can you read for me the B tier, please?
The B tier starts at number 16 in the Ragu Bagu list with Baconator from X-Men. Baconator First Class from X-Men Future Class. Memento Stepmom from Werewolf Around or Us or whatever. Pierce Logan, X-24 from Logan. Stryker from X2. Hydra from Captain America Winter Soldier. Ultron from Avengers Age of Ultron. Echo plus TSM / Kingpin / More /
And Hawkeye.
/ the mom from The Conjuring, The Devil Made Me Do It in Hawkeye. Icarus and the Deviants from Eternals. Blah.
So I think it's higher than these. Like, because I feel like they did a good job of like peppering it in through the whole thing, and it wasn't supposed to mean a lot. But then we get these moments like the revenge porn thing where it's like this is like they took it there, and then
I don't think it's higher than Baconator. I think
Here's-
Baconator is such like a line in the sand of like either you're S or A.
in
or you're
Baconator
not.
in Baconator First Class from X-Men Future Class. What was his name or his motivations, and what did he do?
Just perform. I mean,
Here
Greg,
we
I
go.
have a bad
Here we
memory.
go.
I don't remember anything.
Talking about Kevin Bacon?
Yeah, Kevin Bacon's performance in that movie was awesome.
Well, yes, you put Kevin Bacon in a paper bag. His
He wanted
performance
to
is going
kill
to be
all the
amazing.
humans and make a fucking master race of mutants. That's pretty bad to the bone.
Remember,
bro.
he killed fucking the guy who
He had the
evolves.
helmet. Magneto would never have that helmet.
No,
He's like, I don't
no,
know how to
you,
make a
see,
fucking
you're,
helmet.
what you just said, he wanted to kill all the humans and make a
Darwin.
master race. You're thinking of X-Men, where Magneto wanted to kill all the humans by turning them into mutants and make a master race of mutants. Remember? Then Senator Kelly turned into water. They're all the fucking same. Don't come in here. Kevin Bacon, if you're watching, Kevin,
Hey.
you're fantastic. You're a fucking rock star. I love you so much. I watched fucking Hollow Man in theaters, but come on. Nobody knows what Baconator fucking did in this other than he had a
just explained
coin
to
and he
him.
had a fucking helmet. That's what we know
Maybe
about
you
him.
could talk through
He
my
had a
mic
yacht,
and not
too.
sound as stupid.
What did you just fucking say to me? You're fucking stupid.
Let's fuck him up.
I feel like with Ragu Bagu, it gets hard because sometimes we're like, how good were they at being a bad guy? And
Sure.
sometimes it's more just like, what did they do in the
Yeah, we're
project or
arguing for
whatever.
fun.
But with this, I feel like we often criticize the bad guys in the movies for like, oh, in the third act, it all fell apart because they just turned into this. The fact that it didn't, the fact that they committed and they built it up and committed to not doing that, I won't give them the credit for it.
See,
but
that,
I
here,
still
so
put
here's,
it
not
my
low.
bad
argument. Here's my
guys.
argument. Is I think that goes into the She-Hulk. That goes into She-Hulk's camp of her being great. And we're not talking Ragu shoes. You know what I mean? Rad guys talk. What would I even say? I'm talking about good girl. I don't know. Anyways, here's what I'm saying though.
Really
Right.
pissed off Nico with that one.
13. Let's talk about the end of the A tier. 13 is Ego from Guardians 2. 14 is Mysterio from Far From Home. 15 is Gore from Thor: Love and Thunder. Then B tier starts with Baconator, Memento, Stepmom, blah, blah, blah.
Above Gore.
I'm willing to put him above Mysterio. No.
My vote,
no,
hear me
you're
out, I
right.
stole the floor. My vote would be, if I had my list here, I would take Todd and put him above for Baconator in First Class, have them start the B tier. Because again, I don't think it's at the detriment of the show, but the villains and bad guys or whatever of this, they aren't rad guys. They're just an afterthought. Jennifer, She-Hulk, and her friends are the star of the show, and I think that's how it should be.
I don't know, man. Intelligentsia. I thought they built it well. I'd argue for above Gore.
Nick needs a snack. All right, so let's start getting votes in then. Tim is saying above Gore in the A tier. That'd be that would take over for 15. I'm saying number 16, the start of B tier. What are you voting for, Nick?
Below Baconator.
You're saying below Baconator. Okay.
Sure, I'll go for that. That's fine.
So then,
Just
this is
crunching.
usually Tim's job, but let's stick with it. Raise your hand if you think it should be. I guess that's how it would. Yeah, that's how it's gonna go, right?
If two people are you with Andy?
Always.
I hate you.
They just don't get it. They don't get it. dude.
So then
I
it's
don't
done,
think
right?
it.
Then
Yeah.
Okay. Sorry, I'm.
Talk on my mic. You sound smarter.
All right, so Todd, intelligentsia, toxic masculinity, and superhero tropes are entering Ragu Bagu at the 17 slot in the B tier, below Baconator First Class, above the Memento Stepmom.
Yeah.
Congratulations.
The Memento stepmom.
She's the woman from Memento who was the stepmom in Werewolf
Oh, gotcha.
from London.
By night.
Yeah.
Werewolf
Keep up,
from
Tim.
London
Keep
by
up,
night.
You know?
I'm
They
just
don't-
The
muffing-
list
don't
makes
get it.
perfect sense. It works if you work it.
That's the facts. Now it's time to rank the MCU. The current rankings are as follows. Number 1, Endgame. Number 2, Infinity War. Number 3, No Way Home. Number 4, Homecoming. Number 5, Civil War. Number 6, Ragnarok. Number 7, Winter Soldier. Number 8, Guardians 2. Number 9, Loki. Number 10, WandaVision. Number 11, Avengers. Number 12, Guardians 1. Number 13, Shang-Chi. Number 14, Love and Thunder. 15, Iron Man. 16, Far From Home. 17, Black Panther. 18, Doctor Strange. 19, Werewolf by Night. 20, Multiverse of Madness. 21, Hawkeye. 22, Miss Marvel. 23, Falcon and Winter Soldier. 24, Captain Marvel. 25, Ant-Man and the Wasp. 26, Ant-Man. 27, Black Widow. 28, Iron Man 2. 29, there's a lot of these. Age of Ultron. 30, First Avenger. 31, Iron Man 3. 32, Eternals. 33, What If. 34, Moon Knight. 35, Hulk. 36, Thor. 37, Thor, Dark World. I didn't like how I said Moon Knight there. Moon Knight.
Moon Knight.
Who wants to start the
Fine.
bid?
Fix the atrocities you guys committed last episode. 2 episodes ago. And I would say we take this far better comedy and put it at number 14, below Shang-Chi Shang-Chi, and above Love and Thunder.
I like that. I'll
Thank
put it
you.
there.
Andy, come with us. The water's fine.
Come with me.
You're saying to put this above Love and Thunder, below
Correct.
Shang-Chi.
Yeah.
Sure. I would put this.
He's not going to do what we want him to do, Nick.
I'm just thinking about enjoyment factor.
What's the pure enjoyment factor, Andy?
Think about how much you didn't enjoy Love and Thunder.
I would put this below Iron Man.
Number 16.
Yes.
I would put this above Shang-Chi.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
Nick
that
and I
means
get our way. Nick and I get our way.
Nick and you get your way. It's the new number 14.
we're so
Underneath
cool.
Shang-Chi and above Thor, Love, and Thunder. Well, there you go. Pretty good.
I love when
good.
the plan comes together.
Pretty good.
Where are
I can't
we?
wait to rewatch the Ant-Man movies because, good lord, it's been a long time.
It's been a long time.
I don't remember the lady from Ghost.
Can you guys think about this for a second?
I love thinking.
When are we going to rewatch Ant-Man?
I don't know.
In just a couple months.
Yeah.
Can you believe that Ant-Man 3 is coming out in
Quantumania's
like
coming out, right?
4 months? We're so
I mean,
close.
can you believe we're a month away from Wakanda Forever?
No, we're not. We're 2 weeks away, Greg.
You fucking stupid
You just don't get it. They don't get it.
Can you believe we're 2 weeks away from Wakanda Forever? I do sound smarter in this, Mike.
I'm just blown away. Like I was talking to Barrett earlier. We're looking at the calendar. I'm like, Wakanda Forever's coming out in 2
Okay, I'll be honest with you,
weeks.
Tim. I'm blown away by the 2 weeks thing. 4 months for Ant-Man, that's a long time away. Like,
Yeah, that's
I
not
thought
that
you were going to be
close,
like,
yeah.
Andy, can you believe we are 90 days out from Quantumania?
I'm just so blown away that we are 4 months away from seeing Kang in action. Like that seems like we're about to kick off some like
he's
shit.
gonna look,
you know
look
what
so
I mean?
ripped, dude. He's gonna look so ripped.
Crazy times. So everybody out there knows what, Greg?
I just got an email that I'm not at liberty to discuss on air, and it's only you'll find this is hilarious.
Wow.
Right? That's fucking stupid. I'm so cool. You guys are. I understand why you guys want to hang out with me all the time. You know what I mean?
You radiate coolness. We pick some of it up like a rainbow.
Little update for everybody about In Review. Obviously, we're trying to get everything figured out with the studio, so the schedule is going to be just a little wonky for the next couple weeks as we catch up on some things and keep going. But we are going to be doing a second In Review for Patreon people this week. It'll go up live Monday for everyone else, and that is what, Greg?
Black Adam. Ladies and gentlemen, I can't stress this enough. If you have a storm cellar, go into it because the hierarchy of power in the DCEU is about to change forever.
Exactly. So that'll be this Friday for Patreon people, Monday for everyone else, and then next week we're going to be doing Halloween Ends. Halloween Ends came out last week. We haven't been able to watch it yet, but we will be watching it next week and reviewing it and adding it to the Halloween in review franchise. And I think that'll drop for everyone else publicly. When, Greg?
Monday?
Halloween.
Oh, sorry,
On
I was not
Halloween.
paying attention.
It's all good.
Andy, give me the Halloween theme right now.
Oh my God, we didn't even talk about the fucking recreation of the Incredible Hulk TV show
That was awesome.
intro in the
Oh,
finale
that was
of
great. That
She-Hulk.
was great.
So good.
Have a marvelous day, everybody.
Have a marvelous day.
Didn't sound like Halloween.
I think it was haiku in review.
Hey. It's done. Go home. What are you doing? It's over.